And
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patricia Laria, Chair of the Schools and Education Committee. This is our January 2026 meeting. I need, I think, one or two more people to have quorum, and we're just waiting for our guest speaker, Emily Hellstrom, to join. So just give me a few minutes.
Emily's
Thank
here,
you. Oh, she's here?
promoting her now.
Thank you. Hey, is she here?
Yeah, hi guys.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for joining.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm just looking to see how many
Totally.
committee members are here so we can have quorum. I know that one of my committee members joining in late. Yeah, I don't have quorum as yet.
I think
Just
we
wait till,
do because we're 7 and there are 4 of us here.
yeah, so we have quorum. Okay, so
I
the
don't, I
last,
don't, I don't count towards quorum. Who's counting towards
Oh,
quorum?
no, Janine's not on our
Janine,
committee now
no,
anymore.
mm-mm. I'll just give it a few
Sorry,
minutes.
guys.
Let's give it a few more minutes. I'll start at 6:35. No, just give it a few minutes. I know that Emma's gonna join late because she's in class, but she is coming.
And you do have quorum as of now, so whenever you're ready, you can start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So welcome everyone to the Schools and Education Committee. Patricia Laria's chair. I see Rich Cachapola, who's a education. You just moved. I see Mark Fitzgerald, our vice chair. Let's see. I see who else is here?
I'm confused on quorum, Mark. Can you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
I
thought there
don't
was
see
one-
quorum.
You're right. We're short one. I was confused as to who was here.
All right, well, just give it a few moments then.
Who are we expecting? Who are we
Well,
expecting?
I did not hear from Juliet, who is a board member, and I don't see her present.
Mr. Ma asked for the link, so I'm pretty sure he's expecting to attend.
Okay. All right, let's give it a few minutes then.
I'm happy to sit tight too, so not to worry about me.
Okay. Mark, did you also make Emily a host so that she can share her slides? I think.
Sorry, you think by now I know about unmuting. Emily can share her slides whenever she's ready.
Okay, well, let's just wait a few moments. I'm still
Totally.
don't have quorum. Apologies.
It's a snowy day. People might be.
Can't we start without quorum?
All right, I guess we could do that. All right. Well, okay, I'll reintroduce our committee members. Mark Fitzgerald, Vice Chair. I see Rich Catrapolo. I see Valerie Della Rosa, our Board Chair. I see Janine Kiley, a former Board Chair. I see Mark Dillard, which is our District Manager. And let me see, as attendees, I see Nicole Barth, our elected official representative from Eric Botcher's office. And without further ado, let me introduce our guest speaker. Emily Hellstrom is the Director of External Affairs and Strategy at the Literacy Academy Collective, the team behind two dyslexia-focused public schools serving students in the South Bronx and Central Brooklyn. She also played a key role in Left Behind, a powerful documentary elevating critical conversations about literacy, education, equity, and how we better serve all learners. Emily is here tonight to share updates on LAC's work and what's ahead. I'll give it to you now, Emily.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me. I know there are some folks who know a lot about what we do and folks who are brand new to this work. So I'm going to try to strike a balance between the two. I hope you'll be patient with me. I'm going to share my slides here. And then I'm going to do a slideshow presentation. Can everybody see that first slide with cute little
Yes.
kiddos up in the South Bronx? Awesome. Great. Well, my name is Emily Hellstrom, and I am a co-founder of an organization called Literacy Academy Collective. We are a nonprofit school support organization. We help support the opening and running of district public schools that specifically support students with dyslexia, language-based learning disabilities, and other struggling readers. And I like to start with this slide because really this is like how we got started and really something that drives us every day. Literacy is the most significant civil rights issue in New York City and perhaps across the country. We live in a literate world, and if you cannot read or write, you really struggle. You struggle to fill out a housing form. You struggle to apply for a job, to, read through a lease. There are just so many ways in which, without literacy, we really, you can't participate in society. And I'm going to just go to the next. Unfortunately, if you look at these scores, these are students who are scoring on something called the NAEP test, Assessment of Education Progress. And this is a national, sort of the nation's report card, if you will. And if you see here, it's quite bad. It is at the level of crisis. This is percentage of New York State students that are reading at or above reading proficiency. And if you see, when it's broken down demographically, the numbers get really, really bad, particularly for students with disabilities, multilingual learners, Black students, certainly at the intersection of race, poverty, and disability. So this is really a critical education issue. But as you see in the number of all students, nobody's really hitting it out of the park. So the thing that I like to point out about this slide is on the right that some people might not know. It has been proven by reading researchers and the National Institutes of Health, if that still exists, 95% of students can learn to read if given the right reading instruction. So this is a problem, but it is not unsolvable. It is, in fact, solvable. LAC schools, I just want to sort of situate us. We are an intervention model for struggling readers who require intensive support. It doesn't mean to say that there aren't amazing things happening. And I'm sure you guys have had presentations on NYC Reads and new curricula that are coming in, that have come in the previous administration, and hopefully we're getting signals that they're going to continue. But our schools are specifically for students for whom that does not, it is not enough. And so we are a full school model. So, kids might go to a regular gen ed school, and there are a certain percentage that receive this new curricula and do very, very well. About 30% of students might require like a smaller group. About 10% of the students might need a more intensive within their regular school building. But then really we've identified a group of students for whom anything in the regular school day, they will be pulled out so much that they really just would not experience their regular school. And those are the students we hope to serve in LAC schools. And so, yeah, we're really fulfilling a critical need across the city. Okay, sorry. I've gone through our model a number of times, and I can do that for anybody who wants to catch up. But just to say that we're getting really great results for our kids. They come in at well below typical. That's kids who are in the red. And in fact, that's actually how they find our schools. Oftentimes kids have really bottomed out. They're coming in at a reading benchmark proficiency rate of around 4% is our average. So we're talking about really hitting readers who are not reading at all. So they are at least 2 to 3 years behind in their foundational reading skills. And that's already by second grade. And we know that that gap just continues to grow. What's happened at the end of a year is we see that the pathways of progress are increasing for most of our students. Even these kiddos who are still in the red here are seeing progress. And that's this next slide. So that there's all these this is like a really technical slide, but I bring it in to show that we are really looking at the data for our students at a very, very tiny infinitesimal, like sort of individual skill level. So first sound fluency, phonemes, which are like the tiniest piece of 2 letter sounds together, nonsense letter words. And we're sort of seeing these small gains. So even for those kids in red, they are all making gains. And so that we just want to make them faster. And in fact, the rate of expected improvement is sort of like for first sound fluency, for example, is at 1.1 word per week. And we're increasing actually to 3.8 words per week. And so this is really at 3.43 times the expected rate. So it's not good enough to just make progress. We want to make fast progress so that we could actually close that gap over time. And that is what we're in fact seeing. So all this technicality, we actually got a reading researcher who's nationally recognized to come in and really parse through our data to make sure that we're reading it correctly. And really, we are really seeing 3 to 4 times the expected rate for our students. And that is for all students. I wanted to just share a small video. I'm hoping that this will actually play and that you can hear it. Just stop me if it doesn't.
I can't hear this.
No
Can't
sound.
hear. No sound. Okay. Sorry.
I think it was just starting. I think the
Oh, it
sound was
was.
just starting. Yeah, let's try it again.
Should I try again? Hold on. Let's just see.
Yeah, yes, please. There.
Okay.
My teacher would be me, and she will, when I was like, get, when I get confused, I'll actually to what's the word, in the chemistry field, now, figure out, and sometimes it sounded out, they like to speak sounded out. Not the complicated part, I have a learning disability when that is hard. Complicated for me. It's not what's the word.
So really, that is also the data that we're going for. This is a young student of ours who is not only is increasing, but she feels that this school is actually giving her the opportunity to be able to express herself and identify as somebody with a learning disability. And she can share that in front of her peers and feels comfortable expressing that. And that is also a huge data point for us. So just wanting to share that as well. And that is one data point that we look at strongly, like the confidence to advocate for themselves. But also, yeah, the ability to read, to write, and communicate effectively. So just, wanting to show like that we're going for more than just like, scores, if you will. And our students will be ex-mitting at some point. Our schools go from second grade up through eighth grade. Some students will actually leave us at natural breaking points. They might go to a different middle school. But all students will graduate into high schools, and we'll follow them and make sure that they have placements that give them the support, the continued support that they may need. One school is not enough. We opened our first school, South Bronx Literacy Academy, in 2024. It's going, all of a sudden, we actually are starting with a new middle school next year for for those students who are continuing on with us. Our hope is to create a network of schools that reach the most struggling readers in the system. Sorry, this slide is a little old because we, in fact, opened Central Brooklyn Literacy Academy this fall. It is located in District 17 on the it's basically Crown Heights on the border of Bed-Stuy. So really we're going where the need is greatest and where the barriers to this type of reading instruction are the greatest. So we're really providing access. So we're not inventing something new. This instruction has been around for decades. Reading researchers have known about this type of instruction, evidence-based practice grounded in the science of reading. But it hasn't always gotten to our teachers. And this is one of our teachers, Maurice Krevker. She's been a teacher for over 30 years, and she is just hungry for new knowledge and took some amazing CUNY courses with a professor named Katie Pace Miles, and she's onboarding this new type of instruction. And then she was with us over the summer. We do an intensive summer reading program actually in District 1. And that reaches children who are in summer rising, summer school, and it also trains teachers. So it's like sort of a dual model where we're really getting to program both the teachers and the students. I know I'm sort of going fast here. Let's see. We do have a growth plan. The idea is to build a network of 4 to 7 standalone schools. We're looking at Queens and Manhattan for our next schools. And then we also want to grow this district level teacher training and practicum work. And then we're also doing a big policy piece that really talks about how do we train our teachers in general across the state. And we've actually started to do some work with the governor, with the chancellors of CUNY and SUNY and our private institutions, NYSED and the Board of Regents, to really look at what are the policy and regulation changes that need to happen so that we are sure that higher institutes of higher education actually train our teachers in evidence-based reading instruction. So it's a big initiative. It's called the Path Forward. I know I presented on this a few, I guess almost about a year ago around this time. And we had asked you all to do a resolution around this policy area, which is the second bullet here, which is refine and improve the program review process. And in order to do that, we had to ask for money in the budget to fund 2 new positions at the New York State Education Department. And you all signed a letter. We were very, very appreciative because we got that funding actually in the budget. And it funded, I think it was a very small amount that we asked for. It was like $230,000 each year to actually fund these 2 positions at NYSED. And what they will be doing is they changed the way that schools get accredited. So every 7 years, teacher training institutes, so it would be like, Teachers College or Bank Street, they have to get accredited every 7 years. And normally there's a national review, and you could imagine a national review that's going in and they're looking at everything, math, how do you do all this stuff? And it's a process, but it's fairly surface level. NYSED, through this initiative that we're running, put in a review process that is more in depth and that will specifically look at literacy to make sure that they are using evidence-based practice. And those 2 funded positions will help do that. And if they'll, in fact, even make site visits and look at teaching. So that is a huge shift from the state. And we just want to let you know that these type of resolutions that you put out there that you're thinking like, does this go anywhere? And like, indeed it did. Lots of places signed on to that letter and advocated for that. And we got that funded. So thank you. And that work continues. We have actually launched, we raised $6 million in private and public dollars to put out 11 pilot sites. These are the campuses. Those campuses are actually with what's called a TA provider, a technical assistance provider, who knows evidence-based practice very, very well. They are going through their syllabi and taking them apart, mapping them against evidence-based rubrics, and filling in the gaps, really seeing where are we falling down here? How can we make sure that we align? And the 2 TA providers are the Reading League and Deans for Impact. And they are about a quarter of the way through a 2-year grant process to do that. And there's a lot of different pieces to that, but it's amazing because they're going to be setting the standard for the state. And really that learning, we will be able to take that out to all the other higher ed institutions. There are a total of 86 campuses that train teachers across New York State. And we'll be able to take those 11 and really have a template for them to say, hey, this is how you can look at your syllabi, take it apart and backwards map and see that you are really providing evidence-based practice. So sorry, I hope that's not too technical in the weeds, but listen, these are some upcoming goals. We have a new chancellor that has really, Kamar Samuels, if you don't know, he comes from District 3, which is Upper Manhattan, or just above District 2 on the Upper West Side. And he's really known for his work bringing 2 schools together to provide, not only to make sure that we are not doubling our efforts and that we have a robust school community, but also that that we have an equitable school community and that we have an integrated school system. And he has deep work doing that. And he has signaled that that is going to be a priority for him. But the second thing that he signaled is going to be a priority is to continue the rollout of NYC Reads. And we're very encouraged by that nod because we're really a part of that ecosystem. We are funded through NYCPS, through what's called a special allocation memo. And it's literally called an LAC special allocation memo. So it has special funding. And because he gave that nod that NYC Reads continues, we're fairly encouraged that, but we want to make sure that that is actually true, to make sure that we can expand our network to be about 4 to 7 LAC schools, at least 1 in each borough, and perhaps 2 in some of the bigger boroughs. We want to be sure that LAC schools continue to be part of NYC Reads. That's continuing. And then, another big goal is to make sure that New York State, NYSED, Governor Hochul and the legislature renews their fiscal commitment to the path forward. They did give a nod that they would be expanding our pilot work with 1.5 million. We want to make sure that that's actually real and not just something that they sort of put out there and then it sort of gets put into other buckets, because education certainly was not well funded this year. And so we want to make sure that money goes to this incredible pilot work and builds upon some of the knowledge that we're learning out of those pilots. So that was 1.5 million. I think half would go to Yonkers and half would go to Rochester campuses. And the idea would be that some of our pilot campuses that are here in New York City would inform certainly the Yonkers work, and then some of the SUNY campuses would inform the Rochester work. So those are some of our goals upcoming. And then we also want to share with you that we are doing a special screening. It is a political club screening, but it's really open to all. They are co-sponsoring with us to try to get the word out. But Left Behind is an award-winning documentary that followed the journey of there's six women, several of whom are in the CB2 community. Janine Kiley, obviously, is one of them. Akila Azqui, who I think is a former member, or if not current member. She's also in the documentary, and myself as well. And yeah, it's really sort of an inside look on what it takes to move a system. And one of the things that I love the most about one of the reviews is they said it was one of the best political documentaries in this or any other year. Just recognizing like how hard it is to move political systems and how much grassroots organizing it takes to get some stuff done. And I know that is something that is near and dear to all of you who show up at community board meetings, because that's the work that you guys do too. So we hope that you'll take a moment and sign up and see the documentary. It's free. It's on Tuesday, February 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. It is virtual. If you sign up at that link, you will receive an email with the virtual link. I think, oh, I did put in some resources in case anyone or, if you have families in your building or anybody ever mentions to anybody, hey, I feel like something's going on and my kid's not reading, you would know where to send them. And when I share this deck, those links will go live. So those are some good places to start. But also, yeah, always you could reach out and I could help point in the right direction. So that's it. That was a lot. And I know I sort of went through with hopefully not too much jargon, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, wait, Patricia, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. That was a great presentation, and I'm so happy to hear all the new stuff that LAC has been up to, especially the fact that you guys are holding a middle school, maybe opening a middle school next year.
So basically our school, essentially right now, it starts in second grade. We do start in second because most families really do not know to identify their child as dyslexic or even a severely struggling reader until around second grade. And even second grade, a lot of families don't know. But we go up right now, we have a fifth grade class, and next year that class will, in the South Bronx, will move into sixth grade, which means that we do all the really good modeling and planning work around what does it take to have a robust middle school, right? We know middle school is totally different from elementary. And so we want to do all of the incredible cultural, I mean, when I say cultural, I mean like, we want to have kids who have advisory and like all the cool things that happen in middle school. But we also will have new kids who come in into our school starting that year. So we have students who will be with us the whole time, and then we'll have new kids who come in. Those new kids who come in, they might be starting, even though they're entering in sixth grade, they might be starting at a second grade reading level. What does it mean for them to start reading? Who are they going to be grouped with? And there's all of these very, very technical things that have to happen to understand how to do grouping of students. Because what we do that's very, very different from other schools is during our reading periods, especially our foundational reading skills period, we group kids by skill level, not by grade. That being said, once we get to middle school, we don't necessarily, it's very otherizing to be grouped with second graders or incoming, other grades. So we have to really look, do we have educational, teachers and staff in the building to have small enough groups within the grade band? So really technical, complicated stuff that we're working out at SBLA and that we hope to bring to a site near you that I know is I certainly have my eyes on as potential for a middle school in District 2 that could serve the larger community as this work grows. That NYU promised space, or perhaps
Right.
another one, but I know that would be a wonderful middle school, very rich in transit.
Right.
And access that way. And middle schoolers oftentimes are ready to travel at that time. And hopefully by the time that's ready to be built, we'll be experts at how to
Right.
deliver that type of instruction. But, middle school is a different beast. We have multiple schools who are helping us work on that. The Windward School, which is a private special education school, brought us on a tour. And we got to really talk to some incredible educators who have been doing this for many years on some deep work on what they do. They bring in a writing program that's called Study Skills for their older, like 7th and 8th graders, that really looks at how to write a research paper, how to break that down into like step-by-step process that you work on throughout the year. Also, really doing some intensive work on our math curriculum and how we provide math to our students. Just lots of really good work that we're innovating in the South Bronx. What has been
Right.
incredible this year is because we have Central Brooklyn,
Mhm.
all of a sudden this network is talking to each other, and
That's
we
great.
feel like all of this really new innovation that is just taking off. Different ways that we're using our speech and language pathologists, OTs. They did this huge network-wide OT training, and just like really great possibilities for how we can then turn that around and have that enter the system in different ways. That's not just our school. Same thing with our summer training program that we've been piloting in District 1. That is something that NYCPS Central is really looking at, because they realize they really want to do teacher training differently, and they want to look at that as a model for how they can also reach kids during the summer. So just
Thank
other
you.
ways that we're affecting the system.
Oh, I'm so happy that this work is progressing and moving
Yeah.
forward. We usually get questions from our committee members first, so I will throw it to the committee. Anyone want to ask Emily any questions or from our committee?
I'm
No?
sorry, Emily.
Oh, go ahead, Rich.
Emily, can you just remind me how you do it? How do you get the 3 to 4x improvement? I'm sorry, I forgot.
No,
last
do
time.
not worry. I'm so glad you asked that question. It's really an important one. It is not magic. It is insanely hard work. And it has to do with something called the reading rope, which is deeply grounded in research. There are really known ways for teaching reading, and we, throughout the day, hit on all of those different strands of the rope. So we do have a foundational reading skills block every single day. That's an hour and a half of intensive, some might recognize it as phonics work, but it's not only phonics work. It also has some fluency and other strands of the reading rope, but it is really based in what is called the lower half of the reading rope, where it's really working on decoding. So if kids are struggling with decoding, we're working on that. However, we know that the upper part of the reading rope, what is known as the comprehension part, is really important part of that, but it also often is not taught well and explicitly for students who really struggle to read. So we do an intentional read aloud period every single day. And when I say intentional, we're really breaking down story and explicitly teaching the signals of how to comprehend sentences, so that students, as they're working on decoding, they can also work on what are some signals that can help me also with my comprehension. Another piece that we work on in the afternoon after we do our big foundational reading skills piece And I would just say that foundational reading block, we do it every day. If we go on a field trip, we go after reading. If we have like Thanksgiving, we do reading that last day and then get your child picked up. Like we don't miss. That's like super, super important. But then we do a very in-depth comprehension piece that is tied to background knowledge. So we do a lot of instruction in writing and encoding. Writing is very much a part of learning to read. It's like a reciprocal relationship to reading, and they inform each other. So we very, very explicitly teach writing, both at the sentence level, but also through onboarding a lot of content. And we do that in grade level content. So we give access, not just through reading, but through videos, demonstrations, slide presentations, talking about. So what that might look like if you had like a unit on erosion, for example, which is like a 3rd grade science standard, is you might do a presentation on erosion that talks about what it is and gives a definition, and it'll show a mountain and it'll show the beach and all of that good stuff of what it is. And then we'll take that down and then we'll talk about it. What is the definition? What did you hear? Lots of talking and discussion. Then we might have an article that everybody gets the same article, and you have some deep sentence work where you're just writing one good, long, structured sentence. It could really be one sentence, because if you can write one good sentence, then you can string those together over time and start to get into paragraph writing. So we spend a lot of time at the sentence level. Then we might go do a field trip. What is erosion in New York City? Well, it looks like a pothole. So we go visit and we see what a pothole is. Like that's really like our relevance piece. Like, how is this relevant to your life? Well, here it is in erosion in New York City. And then we do some more sentence work, and then we might wrap the whole project up with a hands-on lesson where they're like pouring water over sand and watching that actually sand erode. All of that together, plus all of that really strong decoding work that we're doing all morning long, that starts to tie together, plus a read aloud where you're explicitly understanding, oh my gosh, look at the top of this paragraph. It says, something that's scientific. I might want to pay attention, all that stuff. It's starting to add up over time. I hope that sort of begins to answer.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And I understand why it'd be hard.
Yeah,
Why
they're really,
it's
really
hard
hard.
work. Why it's hard.
It's really hard work. It's really hard work. And what is super hard also out in the field is that people oftentimes, when they hear science of reading or evidence-based practice, they just think of that decoding part. And that's not enough, especially if you're 2 to 3 years behind. You need to be firing on all those pieces at the same time and intensively.
That's great to hear. Any other questions for committee members? I see we have quorum. We have Ed Ma joining, as well as Emma Smith.
Hi, guys.
Go ahead, Mara, you have your hand raised.
Hi, Emily. Thank you for the presentation. Wonderful as always, and the amazing work you all do. I kind of feel like we've been with you since the beginning.
In the beginning, absolutely.
All of this amazing stuff happen. I mean, 2 schools.
I know.
Who'd have thought? Like literally, I want to cry right now. So brava to all of you. Funding. We know what's happening in this world today with any sort of equity-based funding, anything for people that really need it. What will happen if that funding runs out? What is it? The READ? What is it? The funding?
NYC READ. So
the NYC READ's funding and whatever other funding.
And the SAM.
What do we do? How do we keep it going?
Yeah. just couldn't be a more important question, and it's it, right? We do not, are not able to get to our small group settings without the funding. Just our special allocation memo, that's sort of how the budget works, from NYCPS Central. In the same, that SAM, that's what it's called, a special allocation memo. SAMs work for lots of different programs. So if you've heard of ASD Nest, or you've heard of, there are many, many SAMs that fund different things. Our SAM funds a smaller class size, so we only have 18 students per class. It also funds a speech and language pathologist per every 2 classrooms dedicated to our building, and an OT per every 4 classrooms. Those educators in the building who are dedicated to us and are really, and I think this is the innovation of our model, they are part of our team. They teach all of our kids, because even though there are only certain kids with IEPs, all of our kids need speech and language and the expertise that educator holds. And so they are integral. They're in our classrooms. They are teaching all of our kids. They have groups. They're teaching. And that is not always the case. Most schoolhouses have speech and language pathology educators pulling students out, or at least they're really siloed. Without that SAM, we cannot get our model. Those dollars certainly run through the state budget, the federal budget, and they are fair student funding. We have basically we have fair student funding. We get our allocation for students in temporary housing, multilingual learners, and Title I students, of which we have almost all. Both of our schools are Title I schools. And in addition to that, we have that SAM. So the two of those things coming together is what makes us. We, LAC, are a nonprofit. We also provide extra for the school building. What we provide is curriculum development, teacher training. We pay for teachers to get trained over the summer. We also split with the school. We have a mental health partnership. We didn't even talk about SEL component of our school, but kiddos have not only sort of enter with some trauma and some angry feelings or sad feelings or lots and lots of big feelings, and they might need extra in the sort of support. And we have a tiered process, but we also have a mental health partnership for kids who just literally are experiencing trauma in other areas of their life, either due to just literally from living in marginalized communities, in poverty-stricken communities, and foster care, like lots of different reasons why children might be entering our schools with trauma. So there's lots of reasons that we need to maintain our funding. Our organization, we're about a $2.5 million organization. Most of that funding goes towards teacher training. We provide an actual human being who is highly, highly trained in the building in order to help with teacher support.
So,
And that is on us.
but you don't pay those teachers from the nonprofit. The DOE has to pay them, correct?
The DOE pays their teachers. We, LAC, provide, when you open a school, there's no AP. It is literally skeletal staff for the first 4 years. And so we provide what we call, it's like a specialist in the building who is trained in these evidence-based practices, helps with coaching, professional development. They do all of the assessment training. We assess our students every week and do progress monitoring and tracking to make sure that everybody's moving, preparing reports. It just, you name it. They are in the fabric of the school, and we, LAC, the nonprofit, pays for that person. But everybody else is funded as a public school employee.
So, all right. Well,
So
I mean,
definitely we need to maintain the funding streams, and, you know, really, I think the call out is to continue to fund special education students and struggling readers.
okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Any other questions from committee members?
I have another one.
Oh, go
If
ahead.
nobody
Go
else
ahead.
does.
Go ahead.
Multilingual learners.
Such
Let's
a good
talk about
question.
it.
Let's talk about it. Boy, oh boy, such a good question. There's a wonderful video that if you are interested, there's this amazing reading researcher named Claude Goldenberg, who has a great primer on why evidence-based literacy practice is also good for multilingual learner who are learning a second language. One thing that certainly I am a huge proponent on is dual lingualism. It's awesome, and we should promote it wherever possible. However, most multilingual learners end up being in a setting where they are not learning dual language. So we have to make sure that our literacy instruction is reaching kids who are only being taught in one language, English, because that is the vast majority of students, and that is not changing anytime soon, even though we can all try to promote the change of that. And dual language programs are incredible. Just to be super clear, you can have dyslexia or and dyslexia occurs on a continuum, like a lot of different disabilities. So you can also be dyslexic in every other language that exists. So that means you could be dyslexic, and trying to be dual language while dyslexic is exceedingly difficult. That being said, the best way, if you are going to have to learn a new language because you moved to this country and English is what you need to learn, definitely evidence-based literacy practice is the best way to learn, because it is sequential, it's direct, it's explicit, and your skills are building on each other, and they're getting constantly assessed to make sure that you are progressing through those skills. So the only addition to that would be is that multilingual learners definitely need even more practice with also their oral language. Because if you think about it, they're actually learning their oral language skills at the same time that they're also learning their literacy skills. But the evidence shows that evidence-based practice, it works in every language, and it definitely works for multilingual learners. So I'll share that video. It's really good. He's a good dude, and he's kind of funny and adorable, and it's only an hour, and it really shows very clearly why it works.
Thank you so much, Emily.
You bet.
Thank you, Emily. Any other questions, committee members? No.
You know what? Can I say one other thing, actually?
Sure, go ahead.
There are a lot of kiddos who don't have dyslexia and who do learn to read well. And especially in District 2, we're super lucky and fortunate that there are a lot of kiddos who do just fine. And I will say that evidence-based practice often gets sort of painted as a one-size-fits-all, and it's really anything but one-size-fits-all. It actually is saying, if you are progressing through these skills quickly, then by all means, progress quickly. You must, in fact, it's essential for kids. But you're not going to hurt somebody by showing them the basics of how the English language works. So I'll just give you an example where the old way of teaching, where you're doing a lot of guessing and what's called whole language, where you're like looking at words and then looking at pictures. My one son, who doesn't have dyslexia, he learned to read just fine. However, as he got to much, much larger words, there's this thing called morphology, which is really is teaching the root of words. So it's like etymology or Latin. And we don't do that in our schools currently, but we should, because it's very much rooted in evidence-based practice. When they get to something like 10th grade biology or just harder words, if you have been taught to explicitly look for root words, suffixes, and prefixes, and you've been taught what those mean, the actual meaning of those, because they do have meaning, like that ing actually means something, that ed means something, then you're very good at breaking down those words. And I saw with my non-dyslexic son that he really struggled at first to break down words into their smaller parts with pronunciation and definitely with spelling. So those are skills that people do need. So while they might, some people might progress faster than others, it doesn't mean that they don't need it at all. They do.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to the attendees. Anybody would like to ask a question of Emily? The attendees? No.
I want to make
Um,
sure should I put something or like, I would love to just put this little bit.ly link where you guys could sign up and see the movie.
Yes,
It's
please.
just, you know what, the movie doesn't only center around us. There's like a lot of like really cool stuff in the movie
Mhm.
so I don't think I'm totally self-promoting when I say that it's a really cool movie, and I want to make sure that everybody knows. I'll just put this link in so that you all have it and you can sign up. And here it is. This is free. It's open to everyone, and please, yes, spread the word. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Everyone, right? If I put it to
Yeah, to
everyone.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Thank you so much. Yes.
For you to sign up.
Yeah. You had a slide that talked about the community college and TA providers. Could you kind of elaborate on that? Like what's happening there?
Yeah. Thanks so much for asking. So they're part of that 11 campus pilot. And if you just took one campus, basically our teachers' colleges, they also haven't been doing a very good, well, they haven't been doing a very consistent job, I would say. Some professors are doing well, some aren't, and there's no consistency. And we've actually now done enough surveying that we know that to be true. There's vast inconsistency across our teachers' colleges. So I would liken this to if you entered a medical program to be a doctor, you have a class called like the body, and everybody has it. And it's like, oh, you know, they come in and they're like, okay, throw out everything you learned in biology 101. Now we're going to like teach you how it really works. And they go through, and every single person who trains to be a doctor learns about the body. We need the same thing to happen for our teachers, our people who were preparing to walk into classrooms around literacy, because every single educator needs to know how to teach reading. They need to know the theory behind how it works. They need to know the knowledge that needs to be put in place to put it together, like to put together a good class, and then they need to be able to put it into practice. And right now, that is not happening at all. So when we raised this money, we knew that we needed to have an outside TA provider. So we needed to actually have an expert but somebody who is good not only at the science of reading and evidence-based practice, but also good in change management, right? Because you're coming in, you're dealing with professors, PhDs. They think they know a lot and they don't want people to tell them what to know and how to know it. So these are experts in both of these fields. The Reading League, highly recommend if you're interested in this, check out their website. It's amazing. And this other organization called Deans for Impact. And they have been doing this work across the country. And we allowed campuses to choose what they wanted to do, who they wanted to pick, which one of these, which was great. They got agency, they got to meet their TA provider. And then basically we said, you need to hook up with this person for the next 2 years, and they're going to take you through a process of professional development, seeing where the gaps are, taking apart your syllabi. Like, is your the body course, the equivalent of that, is it good? Is it, these 6 hours of semester courses, like, is it preparing teachers enough? And it was a big risk. We weren't sure how this was we really called them power. We're like, it's a pilot. We don't know. And what we're finding is it's across 5 programs. So it's early childhood, students with disabilities, teaching English as a second language, and literacy in each of those 11 campuses. And they're meeting across program. So that almost never happens. Things are super siloed. When you point out that there are 2 community colleges, LaGuardia and Queensboro, what we found is actually the woman at CUNY who is in charge of all these ed prep programs said, I'd like to include them because what oftentimes happens is students meaning like college students, enter at like Queensboro, and they start out there and then they transfer in. So what we want to make sure is that those courses are aligned across those so that somebody doesn't take a crummy course at LaGuardia and then graduate in, but then it's too late. They already took that course. So we want to make sure all this stuff is aligned. It's very complicated. The thing that has been incredible is these TA providers are so wonderful, and the faculty is bought in. They're so psyched. They're psyched to be doing this work by and large. There are some holdouts and there's some grouchy, grumpy professors who don't want to do it, and that's okay. But what we're finding is different departments are egging on the other ones. So in TESOL departments, teaching English as a second language, those professors, a lot of times they have a lot of this knowledge that's locked up in them, but they don't teach the course on basic literacy.
Oh,
That's taught in other departments. So all of a sudden, because they're working together, they're all saying, okay, what can I contribute? All this stuff. So that is like a 2-year process, and we're documenting it all.
Awesome. Okay.
And we're going to come out with this template that says, hey guys, here's what you need to do. And actually, we're going into another round of fundraising. The governor announced in their budget, and we're trying to make sure that this is rock solid, that 1.5 million. Rochester, Yonkers. The thing, it kind of, you might be thinking to yourself, well, what, how is that relevant to me, Rochester and Yonkers? The reason that it's relevant is that we're about to go in front of multiple, hopefully, about 50 funders who are going to be interested in sort of round 2 of funding. And what that's going to give us we're going to say, look, government is invested in this. Now you guys come and match that in a public-private partnership. And that money some of that will come back to the CUNY schools to be able to broaden this work into things like Hostos. And, we want to get into the Bronx and some of the community colleges in Brooklyn, Medgar Evers, so that we can really expand this work and make sure that everyone who's coming through one of these teachers' colleges is prepared.
Thank you, Emily. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. It's 7:30. Every time you've come, we've supported your work with a resolution, and we would like to continue that.
Thank
So
you.
I know that we have a new chancellor, so I want to, get this chancellor on board with the the work that you're doing, that they continue to have that funding. So in business session, our committee is going to talk about what that resolution will be like.
Okay.
Is there anything you want us to like touch on before departing?
I would just say, like, really NYC Reads, the continuation of that, and that the continuation of recognizing that LAC schools need to expand. I think really those are two very, very important things. And then on the policy side, I think it's super important that this statewide work continue. So anything that you could do towards that, I think they have broader implications, not just for our organization, but for campuses across the state and certainly in classrooms across our city. So anything you could do to push that forward would be greatly appreciated. I will share this slide deck and make sure that you're welcome to send it out to far and wide, and I'll make sure
Yes.
people have access to that, so they can have resources again for if they have encounter struggling readers, they want to see the film and anything else. But just always happy to be here, and thank you so much for the work you do. I know how hard it is to be doing civil service. And that's what you guys
Yeah.
are doing. It's really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. With that, I'm going to start business session. In business session, we will not take any questions from attendees. Emily, you're welcome to stay, but you're more than you can leave. You know how it goes. So thank you again for coming. All right, so committee, we have quorum and we're going to discuss a resolution to support what we just heard. So does anybody want to say anything with regard to that? I mean, she pointed out that we should let the new chancellor know that they should continue the NYC Reads. They need more schools, Literacy Academy Collective. She talked about that a middle school, but she didn't say where it would be opening. The expansion of that, the policy work. Is there anything that I'm missing? Because we'll work on that and then we have some time before the next full board. Anybody else want to chime in?
I support a resolution to support all of their work, particularly around funding. So I guess that would go to the governor and the DOE, and to just really uplift the importance of the work that they're doing so that it can maintain, grow, and expand.
Okay. Any other
Expand and
committee
grow.
members? Okay. And it's not DOE anymore, it's New York City Public Schools.
I'm old. I still can't say NYCPCS, NYCPS, CPS. You think
I know.
Children's Protective Services? It's cooking.
Right.
Would you mention her comments that it could be the NYU school or
Yes. Yeah. We should include
Oh
that in
yeah,
there.
we should definitely
Yes.
send it to NYU and put a therefore in there. Thank you, Rich, for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bleecker Street School that we've been advocating for so long. Yes.
There's a,
Um,
they're going to start building that building on Duarte Square, and that's supposed to have a school in it, but I still think that it's going to be an elementary school.
Yes, they said it was an elementary school.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think a K through 5 when we last spoke to them 2 years ago. Yeah.
Didn't you reach out to them recently, Patricia?
Yeah,
Just
I
hear from
did.
them? It's no progress.
Yeah, they
As
still need,
always.
they said they need a leasing that can fund a majority of their work, to build. So it's gonna be a while yet. What else? Any other comments? No?
Let's get to writing that reso.
Yeah, okay. I did hear from Peter C. of the district attorney office. He wanted me to drop some links. Let me drop that. It's the high school resume workshop. Let me drop that. Hold on. For everyone. You wanted me to make mention. I think that's available to all high schoolers. And then there is another thing he wanted me to mention.
The internship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 2026 DASNY High School internship program. I think it's live today.
They've been promoting it a lot. I know a lot of kids. that are
Yeah,
planning to apply.
if you can, I'm not that quick. Hold up.
Do you want me to find the page? There's actually a page and a flyer. I can find it.
No, I have it to all panelists. I just need to copy it. Hold up and drop it to everybody here. Hold on. There. And that's live today, and we'll get that out to our network. And so with that, if there are no other questions, I'm gonna call this meeting to an end. Anybody wanna?
I second adjournment.
Okay. All in favor?
I'm sorry, hang
Oh,
on.
wait, what?
Sorry,
What is it?
Did you actually vote on your
Oh yeah, we
resolution?
didn't vote.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we
You
didn't vote.
just did a mar. You just
All
did
right.
a mar. I'm the one who's like,
All
great,
right,
we're all in
let's vote
agreement. Good
on, so
night.
everybody in
And you're
favor
always
of,
like, you forgot to vote. You
I'm
just
sure
did a
she did.
mar.
all right, of everyone present, should I just go down the list? Mar, are you in favor of this reso?
We'll say, all in favor of a resolution to support the work? And then
Aye.
can we just aye?
All right,
All right.
I-
any
Yes.
nays? No. All right, abstentions, recuse. Okay. All right, so everyone present says yay. Awesome. All right then, and with that, we'll call the meeting to adjourn.
Thank you, Patricia, for your leadership throughout this
Oh.
committee.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
Patricia, very much.
All right, well, we still have some work yet before
We do.
it
I
ends,
know, it's
yeah,
not over
Okay.
on
yet.
this reso, yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right,
Good night,
Take care.
everybody.
good night,
night.
thank you.
Mm.
All right, good night.
So we're out, yes?
Yes, and you'll
Okay.
send me the attendance?
Yeah, no
Thank
worries.
you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.